Welcome back, everyone. Sheepdog Smokey here, and now in order to practice racial equity, which is fairness, to apologize, impartiality, justice, you know, being fair. In order to be racially equitable, you have to be racist. You see, in a controversial implicit bias training, New York City's public school educators have been told to focus on black children over white ones. One Jewish superintendent who described her family's Holocaust tragedies was actually scolded and humiliated, according to first-hand accounts. Now, I do read the Post. I don't read the Times. I don't read Wall Street Journal anymore. I don't read the Post because I have found them to be minimally liberal in by and large. So I would say this first-hand accounts would be that they have spoken to someone who claimed they were there. Now, a consultant hired by the city told administrators at a workshop that racial equity means favoring black children regardless of their socioeconomic status. If I had a poor white male student and I had a middle-class black boy, I would actually put my equitable strategies and interventions into that middle-class black boy, because over the course of his lifetime, he will have less access and less opportunities than that poor white boy. The consultant, Darnisa Amante, is quoted as saying by those in the room. That is what racial equity is, Amante explained. Miss Amante, buy a dictionary. Equity is to be fair, just, impartial, fair, not to favor anyone over anyone else. I have taught, full-time and part-time and substitute. In every class that I was the teacher for, I don't care if you're black, white, yellow with pink polka dots, male, female, or a dog. If you were a student in my class, you were a student in my class. They were all treated the same. They were there to learn. I was there to teach. I had a class where a young man, incorrectly I might add, gets up and starts storming around the room, and at one point looks at me and says, "I can do what I want. You can't touch me." And I looked him square in the face and I said, "You may land a blow. I am not going to attack you, but I've not been told do not defend myself. You have three choices. You may go to the office, which I've already notified that you'll be coming up there, where you will be asked why the video in this room shows you threatening people and damaging property. You may leave the school, and of course police will come find you to find out why you were threatening people and damaging property. Or you can choose option C, which is do something completely different and see how it goes." Now, I'm a big dude, okay? 6'3" of an inch, about 240, broad-shouldered. I'm not a little guy. I don't fight. I do not like to fight. I am of the Mr. Miyagi school of thought. It's not good to fight. Someone always gets hurt. In most fights, pretty much every fight, everybody gets hurt. And I really don't know how much my heart would have been in defending myself against a student, even a student who was 19 years old as a junior in high school. So I'm really glad he didn't do it. I'm really glad he didn't come back with a gun because, of course, we were not armed. But that was a white guy. I didn't care. My reaction to anyone threatening my students, damaging property in my classroom, threatening me would have been the same. When I was teaching at a middle school several years later, a group of boys, and I honestly couldn't tell you what the races are, were playing paper football. Now, I wrongly didn't say anything at the start of class because I was there for one day as a sub. But they were just kind of scooting it back and forth on the table. I go to turn the lights off to start a video. I'm used to the lights from my own schools I've attended and the others I've taught at, where you turn off the single switch, half the lights go out. The room went dark. I turn the lights right back on, so they're off half a second. I turn around. I see a paper football flying through the air. Strikes another student, a young woman. Now, it struck her from what I could see in the face. Me, having been a firefighter EMS responder, I go over, kneel down, I get a look at her. I can see tears coming to that eye. I can see she's shaken, so I tell her it's going to be okay. I have her friend go get the pad of passes off of my desk. Come back, I write the pass, hand it to her, tell her to take her bags just in case, tell her friend to go with her, go to the nurse. I wait until the door's closed, and then I go about 50% drill sergeant. I turn around and I tell them, one, horseplay will never be acceptable in my class because, as they just saw, it could injure someone. I said also, I may not be a math teacher, but I can tell you exactly which table that came from by the angle of the flight. And I pointed to the table. Said also, I've been on the receiving end of the famous, if no one will confess, I guess I'll just have to hope your guilt will punish you. Said, I don't do that. I know the table it came from, and I know at least one person did it, and the others didn't stop them. So if it happens again, the entire table will get a week of detention. The teacher backed me up and said it would have been another week from him. They were cowed for a little while, but I subbed for them again a little while later, and they were back to their normal selves. I don't tolerate horseplay and putting my students in danger. But beyond that, I don't care. You're a student. Now, according to this, you're worth less as a student if you're white. I grew up in a predominantly middle to lower middle class lifestyle. I had friends who were white, Hispanic, Asian American, black, American Indian for a couple of years of high school. And I can tell you that there are 3 or 4, maybe 5 of the young men I went to high school with, all of them Caucasian, currently serving time in prison. One of them a long time. And I can tell you there are young black students, and Hispanic students, and Asian students that are doing really well for themselves. In fact, there's a couple now, although they were dating in my senior year. One of them is Asian, one of them is Hispanic. And now he owns, and I'm not going to say which is which, but he owns an architectural firm. So don't tell me that it's all about race. Don't tell me that that poor white boy and the middle class black boy are stuck in racial ruts. That poor black boy may be living, or I'm sorry, middle class black boy may be living in a standard nuclear family and growing up with strong morals and values and studying to get good grades, going to college and playing sports or not, and getting a good job whether you favor him or not. That poor white boy may be living in a foster home and being told he's worthless every time he gets home, not allowed to study. You don't know what someone's situation is by their race. The moment you assume to is the moment that you prove the old adage of what happens when you assume true. You're there to teach. You're not there to be political. You're not there to be a social justice warrior. I really wish I could get an audience with this school board, especially with Danisa Amante. Put blindfolds on all of them and put up photographs of students. Describe their socioeconomic status, their home life, and everything. And yes, I would rig it. The ones that I'm going to make sound like they're going to crash and burn would be white. The ones who I make sound like they're on their way to greatness will not be. Just so I can say, okay, we all agreed. I've got the results here of all of the voting. Take off your blindfolds and see who you said would and wouldn't succeed. And I would do it just to get Miss Amante and just to get the school board to start screaming that I'm wrong, just so that I can get them to admit in public that they are racists. One need only look at success stories like Shaquille O'Neal, success stories like Michael Jordan, where they didn't have Miss Amante telling the teachers, oh, you need to favor those little black boys because they're not going to go anywhere unless you help them above everyone else. You have to give them everything. No, Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, they clawed their way to greatness. And now they are helping to lift up children, regardless of their race or whatever. They're working to improve the lives in their communities. All lives. But to a liberal social justice warrior like Bustamante, it doesn't matter. You see, Darnisa would, no matter what, likely be the one to maintain that you have to be racist to not be racist. But I've talked long enough on this. I'm getting a headache. Let me know what you think. Just remember to keep it civil. I think I am going to try to slow down just a little bit. Pardon me. Just a little bit for the next few days. I've got to let my allergy meds get back into my system because, of course, we're coming into summer and everything is blooming. But we'll see what happens. I believe, going to start. If anything, I'll start taking the weekends. So you'll pretty much you can bank on at least 1 or 2 videos every weekday. But we'll see what else rolls from there. In the meantime, let me know what you think. As I said in another video today, all of the videos today have been recorded at minus 2.5 decibels. I am going to take that all the way back up to 0 for everything you'll see tomorrow. I really would like you to tell me if my previous settings before yesterday, or the settings today, or the settings tomorrow, tomorrow being 29 May, Wednesday, let me know which ones you think are best. I'm using the software I can afford right now, which is just OBS on a Mac, to record this, but I do want to still put out quality recordings. Just remember, though, when you let me know about the article, keep it civil. We don't learn from argument, we learn from debate. As always, please remember to like and share the video, as well as to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you're among the first to know of all new content as it is posted. Until next time, everyone, have a wonderful night.